The kind of quiet that hums softly through the coral and drifts across the sand like a slow, endless sigh. Over the jellyfish fields, a warm, golden light stretches out, spilling across every blade of seagrass and pebble, turning the whole meadow into a shimmering sea of light. The sun, sinking lower beyond the horizon, paints the water in amber and rose colors that mix gently with the soft blue of the deep sea. Tiny bubbles float upward, glowing faintly as they catch the last flickers of sunlight. Far in the distance, the faint shadow of the crusty crab fades into the watery haze, and the hum of the day begins to fade. The busy world of Bikini Bottom falls still, leaving only the gentle rhythm of the ocean's pulse. And there, at the heart of the glowing field, walks SpongeBob SquarePants. His steps are slow, careful, like he doesn't want to disturb the peace around him. In one hand, he holds his favorite jellyfishing net, its wooden handle polished smooth by years of adventure. The net sways slightly as he walks, catching the golden reflections of the setting sun. His other hand brushes softly against the tall strands of seagrass, the tips bending like they're greeting an old friend. SpongeBob takes a deep breath, his chest puffing out slightly. He smiles, not his big, excited grin, but a small, peaceful one. The kind of smile that comes when you feel completely safe, completely at home. All around him, the jellyfish fields are beginning to wake for the night. From beneath the meadow floor, little sparks of light begin to rise. One jellyfish, then two, then dozens. They lift slowly from the coral beds, their translucent bodies pulsing with soft, golden light. Each pulse seems to match the slow heartbeat of the sea. They drift upward, floating in graceful silence, their tendrils trailing like silk ribbon. The golden glow deepens to a dreamy lavender as the last bit of sunlight fades. It's a sight SpongeBob has seen countless times, yet every evening feels new, like the first time he ever chased a jellyfish through these fields. He pauses and tilts his head, watching one particularly large jellyfish drift close. Its light reflects in his eyes, bright and gentle. "Hey there, buddy," he whispers softly, his voice calm and full of warmth. "Out for an evening swim, too, huh?" The jellyfish gives a slow pulse as if answering him and continues drifting upward, joining the others. SpongeBob chuckles quietly, a sound that melts perfectly into the rhythm of the ocean. The faint song of sea currents hums in the distance, a natural lullaby. Somewhere behind him, a small crab scuttles by, leaving tiny trails in the sand that glow faintly before fading again. The air, or what counts as air beneath the sea, feels cool now. The light turns dimmer, bluer, as night begins to spread through the water. SpongeBob closes his eyes for a moment, letting the calm wash over him. He can still hear the distant pop of bubbles, the faint swish of jellyfish tentacles brushing through the current. Everything feels slower here, softer, almost dreamlike. He takes a few more steps into the field. Each movement stirs up little motes of golden dust that swirl lazily in his wake. Above, the first stars of the ocean sky begin to appear, tiny points of light shimmering between the drifting jellyfish. For SpongeBob, it feels like walking through a dream. Every light, every glow, every quiet sound seems to whisper one thing: rest now. Everything is okay. The golden light fades into a soft violet haze spreading gently across the jellyfish fields. The sky above, an endless ocean ceiling, turns deep blue like velvet brushed with starlight. Far beyond, the faint shimmer of the moon begins to rise, sending ripples of silver across the meadows. SpongeBob slows his walk. Each step now feels lighter, softer, as if the sand beneath his shoes has turned into a cloud. The ocean current carries the faint scent of sea flowers, the ones that bloom only at night. Their petals open slowly, releasing glowing dust that drifts through the water like tiny stars being born. He stops by a tall coral arch, one he's passed many times before. Its edges are smooth and curved, covered in little sea anemones that wave sleepily in the current. SpongeBob reaches out and touches it, running his fingers over the coral's cool surface. "Still here, huh?" he whispers with a smile. "You never miss a sunset." The coral doesn't answer, but a faint shimmer passes through its ridges as if it understood. From somewhere in the distance, a low hum begins to echo, a sound that isn't made by any creature, but by the sea itself. The deep vibration rolls through the water like the ocean's heartbeat. SpongeBob pauses to listen. His eyes soften. He feels small but safe, surrounded by the vast, living stillness of the deep. He tilts his head back to watch the jellyfish above. They float like glowing lanterns, drifting slowly in wide circles, leaving trails of golden dust behind them. Their light dances gently across SpongeBob's face, painting his yellow skin with soft reflections. His eyes blink lazily, heavy but peaceful, like he could fall asleep standing right there. A gentle current passes through the field, bending the seagrass in slow waves. The movement looks almost like breathing. Inhale, exhale. The ocean moves with him, around him, through him. In the distance, he spots something familiar, a lone rock formation shaped like a resting whale. It's one of his favorite spots, where he and Patrick used to sit and talk about nonsense until the stars came out. A faint giggle escapes him as he remembers one of Patrick's silly stories, the kind that made no sense, but somehow always made him laugh. He takes another deep breath, exhaling slowly. "Good times?" he murmurs softly. "Real good times." A pair of jellyfish drift closer, their tendrils curling softly in the current. SpongeBob lifts his hand slowly, not to catch them, but to greet them. They circle him once, pulsing softly like they recognize him, then glide upward again, their glow fading into the higher water. The entire scene feels weightless now. The sun has vanished completely, leaving only the moonlight, the jellyfish, and SpongeBob standing in the middle of a living, glowing dream. A faint trail of bubbles rises beside him, like whispers from the sea floor. The gentle rhythm almost sounds like words, like a lullaby sung by the ocean itself. SpongeBob closes his eyes, listening. For a moment, it feels like the whole world has stopped moving, holding its breath in quiet wonder. He imagines the surface far above, the world beyond the sea, where stars flicker like the jellyfish here. He wonders if someone up there might be looking down right now, seeing the same shimmer, feeling the same peace. The current shifts slightly, brushing against his arms. It feels like the ocean's way of saying goodnight. SpongeBob chuckles quietly and lowers his net, planting it softly into the sand. The net stands still, its frame glowing faintly from the reflected jellyfish light. "I guess that's enough jellyfishing for today," he says, his voice barely louder than the bubbles around him. The jellyfish field responds with light, slow, pulsing waves of gold spreading across the meadow. The glow grows brighter for a few moments, then dims again into a calm, steady shimmer. And there, in that golden quiet, SpongeBob takes one last look at the fields before night fully settles in. His eyes shine with peace. His heart feels light. The jellyfish drift. The ocean hums. And the world beneath the waves glows softly in the rhythm of dreams. The first true shadows of night stretch across the jellyfish fields, and the golden twilight finally melts into deep sapphire blue. The last flicker of sunlight fades from the far horizon, replaced by a faint, silvery glow that spills gently across the sand. Every color now feels slower, quieter, softer. The day has gone to sleep, and the sea has begun to dream. SpongeBob walks a little farther into the meadow, his net swaying lazily at his side. The tall seagrass waves around him like slow-moving clouds, brushing against his legs as he passes. The rhythm of the ocean seems to follow his steps, the way the water hums, the way the jellyfish pulse in time with his heartbeat. It all feels connected, like he's walking inside a song that the sea is softly singing. He looks up again. The jellyfish are higher now, a glowing ceiling above him. Hundreds of them drift together in gentle spirals, lighting the water with warm yellow and cool pink tones. They move so gracefully that it's hard to tell if time is passing at all. SpongeBob tilts his head, his eyes wide, the reflection of every jellyfish flickering inside them. He whispers to himself, "It's like they're stars, but underwater." The thought makes him smile. In this quiet, it's easy to imagine that the jellyfish aren't just floating creatures, but little lanterns guiding dreams through the sea. He watches as one drifts lower than the others, its glow flickering softly like a candle in the wind. It circles him once, slowly, before floating back upward. SpongeBob watches it go until it becomes just another light among many. He kneels down to the sand. Tiny creatures move beneath the surface, small shells, sea snails, and sleepy plankton. They glitter faintly when the jellyfish light touches them. SpongeBob reaches out and gently draws a shape in the sand, a small jellyfish, round and smiling. The sand sparkles faintly where his fingers pass. Then a soft sound fills the water, a faint chime like a music box. It's not real music, but the sound of the jellyfish pulses overlapping, their bioluminescent rhythm blending into something that almost sounds like melody. SpongeBob closes his eyes and listens. The world around him fades, and all he can feel is peace. He lies back on the grass for a moment, staring up at the glowing sky above. The jellyfish drift slowly across his view, their tentacles leaving trails of light like strokes of paint. The meadow stretches endlessly in every direction, a living ocean, gold and blue. He breathes deeply, the kind of deep, slow breath that feels like it fills his entire soul. The water feels warm now, calm, like the whole sea is holding him. He feels small but cared for, just one little part of something much bigger and more beautiful than he could ever describe. The current brushes past him again, cool and soft. A jellyfish floats directly overhead, glowing a pale, dreamy pink. For a moment, SpongeBob lifts his hand as if to reach it, but then lets it drift away. He doesn't want to catch it anymore. He just wants to watch. "Good night, little friends," he says softly. His voice echoes faintly through the water. "Keep glowing for me, okay?" The jellyfish above him pulse once bright, then dim again like they're answering him. SpongeBob stays there, lying among the tall seagrass, watching the glowing sky above him shift slowly with every current. The world feels infinite, yet perfectly still. And as the first bubbles of night drift upward and disappear into the dark, SpongeBob lets his eyes flutter closed. Just for a moment, just to rest. The ocean hums around him, deep and steady. The field glows like a dream. And the night of Jellyfish Fields begins to truly breathe. The stillness deepens. The ocean has become a cathedral of silence, filled with light that breathes. Every jellyfish now glows brighter, their rhythm slow and hypnotic, each pulse a heartbeat, each shimmer a whisper. The colors have shifted again, fading from gold and violet into pale blues and ghostly whites. The jellyfish fields no longer look like meadows. They look like the sky itself, infinite and alive. SpongeBob opens his eyes slowly. For a moment, he doesn't remember where he is. Quiet, the light, the weightless feeling, it's like he's still dreaming. Then he sees them. The soft shapes of jellyfish drifting above him, their long tendrils swaying gently in the water. He smiles, the kind of small, sleepy smile that feels like sunlight after a long rest. He sits up slowly, brushing grains of sand from his square legs. The seagrass around him bends and sways, whispering in patterns only the ocean understands. In the distance, the coral arches glow faintly blue fire spreading softly through their veins. Everything glows tonight. Everything breathes. SpongeBob stands and stretches. His net rests beside him, still buried halfway in the sand. He doesn't pick it up. The thought of catching jellyfish feels wrong now, almost out of place. Tonight isn't about catching. It's about watching, about being part of something that exists quietly without needing to be touched. He begins to walk again, slow and easy, his feet brushing through the glowing grass. Each step leaves a faint trail of golden dust that shimmers briefly before fading away. The current moves gently around him, cool and calm. The moonlight, or what passes for moonlight underwater, has grown stronger now, filtering through the surface far above. It turns the world silver blue. The jellyfish glow brighter beneath it, as if answering its call. They move together, rising higher, spreading across the fields like floating lanterns carried by invisible wind. SpongeBob watches them go, his heart full and still. "Wow," he whispers softly. "You're really putting on a show tonight." The water hums in reply. The distant sound of whales echoes faintly through the deep, long and low, blending with the rhythm of the waves. Somewhere nearby, a school of tiny fish swims past, their scales reflecting every color of the jellyfish light. They move in perfect harmony, a slow, glimmering cloud that circles SpongeBob once before disappearing into the dark. The longer he stands there, the more the world seems to dissolve around him. The line between sea and sky blurs. The colors mix. The fields stretch endlessly in all directions, glowing softly like a dream that doesn't want to end. He feels his eyelids grow heavy again. Not with sleep, but with peace. He looks up one last time. The jellyfish are almost gone now, drifting farther into the higher water, glowing faintly like stars fading into dawn. He raises his hand and waves. "Good night," he whispers again. "See you tomorrow." The current stirs, soft as a sigh. SpongeBob turns toward a home, a distant silhouette of his pineapple house barely visible beyond the coral ridges. But before he takes a step, he pauses. Something inside him wants to stay just a little longer. So he sits back down. The ocean floor glows beneath him, pale and calm. He closes his eyes, letting the water carry the sounds of the fields into him. The faint buzz of jellyfish wings, the soft hum of the tide, the rhythm of his own gentle breathing. Above him, the last jellyfish turns slowly, its glow pulsing once more before drifting upward, out of sight. The field is dim now, wrapped in soft blue silence. And in that stillness, SpongeBob feels the world exhale. The day has ended. The dream has begun. The sea is quiet, deeper now, painted in layers of midnight blue and soft violet. The glow from the jellyfish field shimmers faintly, stretching across the horizon like a living galaxy. Above, the surface of the water reflects the light from thousands of jellyfish, bright, slow, and patient, turning the ocean into a mirror of stars. SpongeBob walks through the glowing meadow, his pace gentle, unhurried. The tall seagrass, brushes softly against his sides, swaying with every movement of the current. The air feels heavier now, but not dark instead. It's filled with calm light, as if the entire sea has exhaled and finally settled into its dreams. He looks upward, and the sight makes him stop. Hundreds of jellyfish drift above him in wide spirals, glowing softly in shades of pink, gold, and blue. Their light moves through the water like candle flames in slow motion. Each one rises and falls, their long tendrils trailing behind them like ribbons of silk. The deeper he looks, the more he sees layer upon layer of drifting light, each moving at its own slow rhythm, creating a glowing ocean sky that stretches forever. SpongeBob whispers to himself, "It's like walking through the stars." He lifts his hand, and one jellyfish drifts close enough for its light to bathe his fingers. Its glow is gentle, warm not from heat, but from something softer. He smiles quietly, watching the creature float around his hand before gliding higher again. He keeps walking. The light from the jellyfish falls across the ground, forming small, glowing pools that flicker beneath his feet. His shadow stretches and dances as he moves, blending with the ripples in the sand. The meadow hums softly, the faint sound of jellyfish energy vibrating through the water like distant bells. For a moment, SpongeBob stops beside a cluster of glowing coral. In his net, one small jellyfish rests, the only one he caught before twilight faded. Its body pulses faintly, the glow dimmer than the others. SpongeBob watches it quietly, his face full of thought. He tilts the net slowly, holding it just above the sand. The jellyfish stirs, rising weakly toward the open water. SpongeBob whispers, "Go on now. You belong up there." The jellyfish drifts out of the net, floating higher. It pulses once faintly at first, then brighter as if waking up. The light returns to its body, soft pink and gold hues, blooming through its surface. It moves upward gracefully, joining the spiral of others in the distance. SpongeBob watches until it disappears among them, becoming just another tiny lantern among the countless lights in the sea. His expression softens, a mix of joy and calm. He kneels and places his net gently on the ground. "Goodbye, little friend," he murmurs. "Thank you for the glow." The ocean around him answers with movement. A slow current passes through the meadow, setting the grass and coral swaying again. The jellyfish react, glowing brighter as the water shifts, turning the entire field into a wave of light. The glow travels outward, layer by layer, until it reaches the far edges of the field. SpongeBob looks around in awe. The sea itself seems alive, breathing light, whispering in motion. The sound of it fills him, not as noise, but as warmth. And in that moment, he realizes something. He doesn't need to chase the glow. He's already inside it. SpongeBob takes a slow step forward, and the light around him ripples softly as if the ocean itself has noticed him move. The water feels warmer now, not from heat, but from the glow of thousands of jellyfish. Their bodies float above him like drifting stars, and their soft, rhythmic pulses cast gentle shadows that dance across his path. He follows the light. Every few steps, a jellyfish drifts closer, almost curious. One brushes past his shoulder, its touch barely there, like silk in the current. SpongeBob laughs quietly, his voice muffled by the water, but still bright. "Hey there, little one," he says. "You're up late too, huh?" The jellyfish pulses once in reply, then twirls upward, spinning like a glowing ribbon before floating away again. SpongeBob watches it go, then keeps walking. The seagrass parts gently around him, glowing faintly with traces of gold left behind by the passing jellyfish. Each blade moves like a candle flame underwater, swaying to the rhythm of unseen waves. The world feels slower now, as if time itself has decided to take a rest. Far in the distance, a hill of coral rises gently from the meadow floor. SpongeBob walks toward it, drawn by the brighter light that seems to spill from its surface. As he approaches, he sees that the coral isn't glowing on its own. Hundreds of tiny jellyfish have gathered around it, their lights overlapping, blending into a warm, living radiance. He stops a few feet away and just watches. The scene feels sacred somehow, a natural lantern built by the ocean. The coral pulses faintly beneath the soft jellyfish glow, reflecting it back through its crystalline structure. It's as if the sea is painting with light. SpongeBob lowers himself onto the sand and sits cross-legged. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't need to. The beauty in front of him fills every quiet space inside him. Above, the jellyfish continue their gentle drift, forming spirals and loops, glowing trails that cross each other like constellations. SpongeBob tilts his head and traces their paths with his eyes, connecting imaginary dots in the sky. "That one looks like Gary," he whispers, smiling to himself. "And that one, maybe like a Krabby Patty?" He laughs softly, the sound small and warm. The bubbles from his laughter float upward, catching the jellyfish light and twinkling like tiny gems before they fade. A quiet current rolls through again. It moves over the coral hill, across SpongeBob, and out toward the edge of the meadow. Everywhere it passes, the jellyfish glow bright for a few seconds, one wave of light, then another, spreading outward like ripples of starlight. SpongeBob watches in awe as the sea becomes a living, breathing galaxy. He places his hand on the sand beside him. The ground hums faintly, a vibration so soft it feels like a heartbeat. For a moment, he feels completely connected to the ocean, to the light, to everything around him. He whispers, "It's like the sea's alive, and I'm part of it." The jellyfish seem to respond a few drift lower, forming a slow ring above him, pulsing in a soft harmony. Their glow bathes him in a warm, golden blue light. SpongeBob's eyes grow heavier, but he doesn't close them yet. He just sits there breathing, existing. The world has no edges anymore. Just light, water, and the soft sound of his own heart, blending with the heartbeat of the sea. He stays like that for a while, quiet, still small beneath the glowing sky. And for the first time in a long while, SpongeBob feels what it means to truly rest. The ocean has become a sea of lanterns. Everywhere SpongeBob looks, glowing jellyfish drift through the dark, their light weaving threads through the endless blue. The deep sea feels alive but quiet, a world that breathes without sound, only color. SpongeBob rises from where he was sitting. The soft sand slides beneath his square shoes, tiny grains swirling in the faint current. He looks around once more at the coral hill behind him, then toward the open meadow stretching out ahead. The path glows faintly, a trail of slow, pulsing light, created by the jellyfish as they move. He takes a deep breath. "Okay," he whispers softly. "Let's see where the lights go." He begins to walk again. The sea feels different now, thicker, calmer, almost like a dream. The water carries every movement slowly, each motion flowing like a dance. The jellyfish guide his path, rising and falling gently, their light spilling down over him in soft waves. As he moves deeper into the fields, the light becomes more layered. The higher jellyfish glow a faint, icy blue. The lower ones burn with soft golden hues. The two colors mix through the water, wrapping SpongeBob in light that shifts between warmth and coolness, like the balance between sleep and waking. He holds out his hand as one jellyfish drifts near. It's small, no bigger than his palm, and its glow flickers rhythmically. He lets it hover just above his hand, close enough that he can feel the soft hum of its energy through the water. The little creature pulses once, twice, and then floats upward again, trailing a thin ribbon of light that fades into the dark. SpongeBob watches it go. "Good night," he says quietly. As he continues walking, the jellyfish around him start to move together, not randomly now, but in slow, deliberate circles. The pattern forms naturally, as if the sea itself is drawing shapes in the water. SpongeBob stops and looks up, realizing that the circles connect above him like a giant spiral. The jellyfish pulse in unison, bright, dim, and for a moment, the ocean looks like a living sky full of stars that breathe. SpongeBob tilts his head back, mesmerized. The glow reflects in his eyes, turning them soft and glassy. He whispers, "It's like the universe came down here to sleep." The spiral expands slowly, and the light moves over him like waves. He feels it on his face, his arms, his chest, not touching, but surrounding him, wrapping him in gentle warmth. The seagrass beneath him begins to glow again, as though feeding on the jellyfish light, creating small circles of gold and blue that drift outward. The water hums faintly, a sound so deep it can only be felt, not heard. SpongeBob closes his eyes and lets it pass through him. For a brief moment, it feels like the whole ocean is breathing in time with him. He starts to move again, but slower now. He's not walking anymore, he's drifting, his steps lighter, his body guided by the current. The jellyfish move ahead of him, parting gently, then regrouping, always leading him forward. The deeper he goes, the softer everything becomes, the light, the sound, even the movement of the water. He no longer knows how long he's been walking. Minutes, hours, it doesn't matter. Time feels distant here, replaced by rhythm, the steady pulse of jellyfish light, the rise and fall of the sea's heartbeat. SpongeBob's expression softens into pure calm. His eyes half close as he moves through the glowing waves, letting them carry him deeper into the meadow. The world is quiet, endless, alive. The jellyfish ahead begin to rise again, drifting higher, their glow brightening with each pulse. SpongeBob follows them with his gaze, smiling faintly. "Keep glowing," he whispers. "Don't stop." And as he looks upward, surrounded by thousands of floating lights, the sea begins to look less like water and more like the sky itself. The glow of the jellyfish softens into a slow pulse like a heartbeat, echoing across the sea. SpongeBob stands still in the middle of the meadow, his net hanging loosely by his side. The water is thick with golden light now, warm and peaceful. It's as if the entire field is asleep, dreaming with open eyes. He lifts his gaze. Above him, hundreds, no thousands of jellyfish float silently through the dark water. Some drift close enough for him to see the delicate lines of their bodies, the way each pulse sends ripples through the current. Others are far away, no more than glimmers in the distance. Together they make the night shimmer. For a long time, SpongeBob just watches. The stillness feels endless but comforting, like time has slowed down just for him. Every flicker of light feels like a whisper. A faint current brushes past, carrying the soft sound of bubbles, tiny voices from the sea. SpongeBob tilts his head and listens. It almost sounds like humming, a quiet melody playing somewhere deep in the water. He follows the sound, taking a few small steps forward. Each step stirs the glowing sand beneath his feet, sending golden dust swirling upward. The dust mixes with the jellyfish light until it looks like he's walking through a galaxy made of stars and dreams. He whispers softly, "Wow, I didn't know the sea could sing." The melody grows clearer, still faint, still gentle, but with rhythm now. The hum becomes a tune that sways like waves. The jellyfish drift in time with it, their light pulsing with each invisible beat. SpongeBob realizes that the entire field is alive with the song. The sea itself is playing its lullaby. He closes his eyes. The sound seeps into him through his ears, through his skin, through the tiny bubbles round him. It's the sound of everything breathing together. The water, the sand, the jellyfish, the coral. All of it is one soft rhythm. When he opens his eyes again, the world looks different. The colors are deeper, quieter. The gold fades to pale blue and the blue to silver. The jellyfish dim slightly, their glow no longer sharp but velvety, like moonlight through fog. SpongeBob sits down again, resting his net beside him. The sand glows faintly beneath him, casting ripples of light over his face. He lets out a long, slow sigh. "I think," he whispers, half to himself, half to the sea, "I think this is what dreaming feels like." He leans back, his eyes growing heavy. The jellyfish continue their slow drift above, the melody wrapping around them all. The current moves softly through the meadow, brushing through the seagrass, like wind through fields. For a while, SpongeBob just lies there, eyes half closed, watching the glowing lights move across the dark water. He sees shapes, patterns almost like memories floating by. His pineapple house, the Krusty Krab, his friends laughing at Jellyfish Fields during the day. Each one drifts past him like a bubble, then fades gently into the night. He smiles not wide, just a quiet, sleepy smile. His hand rests over his chest as if to hold the warmth inside him. The jellyfish begin to rise higher, their glow dimming as they ascend. One by one they disappear into the deep blue above. The melody slows, becoming a single long note that echoes and fades. The ocean darkens, but not into emptiness, into rest. A soft light remains, flickering faintly from the sea floor. It's the same jellyfish he released earlier, floating close to his side now. Its tiny glow pulses slowly, matching SpongeBob's breathing. He whispers drowsily, "You came back." The jellyfish hovers beside him, lighting his face with one last golden shimmer. SpongeBob's eyelids flutter once, twice, and then close completely. The final pulses of light move upward like embers rising toward the stars. The music fades into silence. The sea becomes still again. And in that stillness, SpongeBob drifts peacefully into sleep, and the soft rhythm of the ocean carrying him deeper into dreams. The jellyfish drift on, their glow spreading slowly outward, marking the boundary between waking and dreaming. The currents move slower now, weaving through coral towers that glow faintly with pale blue light. SpongeBob drifts gently between them, eyes half closed, caught somewhere between waking and dreaming. All around him the world has changed. The jellyfish fields have faded into a new place, deeper, softer, quieter. The sand is smooth like silk, and the coral rises in long curved shapes that sway with the rhythm of the sea. Each coral branch glows faintly like a candle breathing light. Together they form a glowing forest that hums in harmony. The sound isn't made by music, but by motion, the whisper of bubbles, the soft vibration of light through water, the faint touch of current brushing across SpongeBob's arms. He breathes slowly. His body feels weightless. His mind floats freely, wandering through colors and sound. From far away, a melody begins to form, not a human song, but something older, gentler. It hums through the coral, through the sea floor, and through the stillness of the water. It sounds like the sea itself is singing him to sleep. SpongeBob opens his eyes slightly, his gaze unfocused but soft. The coral lights pulse with the rhythm of the melody, dimming and brightening in time. Between them, tiny fish drift in groups, glowing faintly like sparks. They weave in circles, tracing patterns through the dark spirals, ribbons, soft waves. SpongeBob smiles faintly. His voice is barely a whisper. It's a singing. He drifts closer to one of the coral branches. Its light brightens as he nears, and the hum becomes clearer, deeper. He can feel it in his chest, like a heartbeat that isn't his own. He places a gentle hand against the coral. The surface is smooth and warm. For a moment, it vibrates softly under his touch, and a pulse of light travels up the branch, vanishing into the darkness above. The melody shifts. The coral responds to him. SpongeBob giggles quietly, but his voice sounds distant, dreamlike. Yeah, it's ticklish. He floats upward a little, turning slowly as he drifts through the glowing garden. The coral sways around him like fields of grass in a nighttime breeze. The lights flicker in waves, creating ripples across the entire ocean floor. Each pulse carries the same rhythm, slow, calm, gentle. The ocean is alive with the lullaby now. It's not loud or sharp, but endless, a low, warm hum that moves through everything. It's the sound of peace, of the world resting. SpongeBob's eyes grow heavier as the melody deepens. The light begins to fade from bright gold to soft lavender. The coral glows like twilight, and the water thickens into dreamlike mist. SpongeBob's thoughts drift like bubbles, small, light, floating away before they form. His breathing slows, his hands rest gently over his chest. The ocean sways him like a cradle. For a moment, he hears the distant sound of laughter, faint echoes from the world above. Patrick's giggle, Squidward's sigh, the hum of the Krusty Krab grill. The sounds blur together, wrapping him in warmth. He whispers softly, "Good night, everyone." The coral lights respond once more, glowing brighter, almost as if the sea itself heard him. The melody hums lower now, slower, softer until it feels like it's matching his heartbeat. The lullaby continues, wrapping him in its sound. The current moves around him, brushing through his sponge-like form with gentle care. The sea carries him slowly forward, deeper into the coral forest, where the light fades into silver and blue. And there, surrounded by the glow and the song, SpongeBob drifts peacefully deeper and deeper into the ocean's dream. The deeper SpongeBob drifts, the more unreal everything becomes. The light of the coral bends and dances in soft ribbons, twirling like fabric through the water. The melody hums gently, flowing through the water like waves of color. He feels himself moving, not walking or swimming, but simply drifting. The current carries him through arches of coral that look like gateways, each one glowing with a different shade: amber, violet, turquoise, rose. As he passes through each, the sound changes slightly, like a note in a song. The ocean is composing a melody just for him. He moves past a patch of glowing anemones, their tendrils waving like tiny hands. Each time they sway, tiny bubbles rise up, shimmering with faint light. The bubbles float around SpongeBob, circling him like stars. He reaches out, and one bubble lands on his fingertip, humming faintly before dissolving into sparkles. The sound it leaves behind melts into the larger tune of the sea. SpongeBob sighs happily. I could stay here forever, he murmurs, his voice soft and slow, as though he's already speaking from a dream. In the distance, shapes begin to form, not quite real, not quite illusion. He sees outlines of jellyfish again, their glow now silver instead of gold. They drift above him in a slow, swirling dance, their tendrils like ribbons of light brushing against the coral. As they move, the coral responds, glowing brighter where the jellyfish pass, dimming again after they leave. The entire ocean seems to breathe with them, light and sound rising and falling in perfect harmony. SpongeBob drifts upward slightly, following their rhythm. His eyelids flutter, heavy but peaceful. The jellyfish pulse gently, almost like they're watching over him. He stretches his arms outward and spins slowly in the water, laughing softly, not out of excitement, but from the quiet joy of being alive in such a beautiful dream. Around him, the coral forest opens into a wide clearing. The sand below glows faintly blue, and the water above ripples like moonlit glass. At the center of the clearing stands a large coral structure shaped like a seashell, curved and smooth, radiating gentle waves of light. The melody grows stronger here, not louder but deeper, as if the heart of the sea lies inside that glowing shell. SpongeBob approaches slowly, feeling the rhythm echo through his chest. Every pulse of sound seems to match his heartbeat exactly. He lays his hand against the shell. It feels alive, warm, humming, calm. The moment his fingers touch it, the sound changes again. The melody becomes richer, filled with soft, chime-like tones. Light ripples outward from the shell, spreading through the water in circles of color. The coral around him sways in time, and the jellyfish drift closer, their glow blending with the waves of light. SpongeBob whispers, "It's like the sea is singing back." He sits down on the glowing sand, legs crossed, and lets the current wrap around him. The lullaby deepens, its rhythm slowing even more. The world blurs at the edges, not fading, but softening, as though he's seeing through the haze of sleep. Tiny fish swim by in patterns, forming gentle spirals that glow for a few seconds before fading. Their movement leaves faint trails of light, like brushstrokes across the water. SpongeBob watches them through half-lidded eyes, his breathing perfectly calm. Everything moves slower now, the lights, the bubbles, even the water itself. The sea has settled into the rhythm of sleep. And SpongeBob, still smiling faintly, feels his thoughts melting into that same rhythm. His mind drifts not empty, but full of the sea's quiet voice. He doesn't know if he's still awake. He doesn't need to. The ocean hums around him, slow, soft, eternal. The song of the ocean changes once again. It becomes lighter, not louder, but sweeter, like a hum from far away. The sound doesn't come from any one place. It flows through everything. The coral glows in soft patterns, and the bubbles move in rhythm to the melody. SpongeBob feels his thoughts drift further into stillness. He's not sure when he stopped hearing his own breathing. It feels like he's floating inside a dream that belongs to the sea. Then in the soft light, shapes begin to appear. At first, they're only blurs, flashes of pink, purple, and yellow. Then they take form. Patrick, Squidward, Sandy, Mr. Krabs, all appearing as gentle outlines, shimmering like reflections on the surface of a bubble. They're not really here, yet somehow they are. SpongeBob sees Patrick smiling, holding a jellyfish net. He hears faint laughter, not sharp or loud, but soft, like an echo of something remembered. Patrick's outline drifts closer, floating gently through the water. "Hey, buddy." His voice whispers, distant but full of warmth. You found the quiet part of the ocean. SpongeBob smiles faintly, his eyes still half closed. Yeah, he murmurs. It's beautiful. Patrick nods. Or maybe it's just the shimmer of light pretending to nod. Don't forget to rest, okay? The sound fades, carried away by the current. SpongeBob blinks slowly. The coral glows brighter for a moment, as if acknowledging the memory before letting it go. Next comes Squidward, tall, graceful, surrounded by faint waves of teal light. His expression isn't grumpy this time. He looks calm, almost peaceful. He's playing his clarinet, but the sound doesn't hurt the ears. It melts perfectly into the sea's melody, each note glowing like a spark that drifts away and fades. SpongeBob whispers, "You sound really good, Squidward." The image of Squidward smiles just a little. Finally, his voice echoes faintly, "Someone appreciates art around here." SpongeBob chuckles softly, but the sound fades before it reaches the edges of the dream. The clarinet note lingers slow and low, merging into the lullaby that flows through the sea. Then Sandy appears, calm and glowing, like sunlight filtered through golden water. Her voice sounds like wind in the trees. "Rest easy, SpongeBob. Even the sea takes time to sleep." Her hand, made of light, touches his shoulder gently. For a moment he feels warmth that isn't from the water. He looks up at her, eyes heavy, smile soft. "Thanks, Sandy." The coral pulses softly, and the dream shifts again. Now SpongeBob sees himself a younger version, playing in Jellyfish Fields under the bright sun. Jellyfish bounce happily through the air. Patrick runs in circles. Squidward hides behind a rock, pretending not to watch. The scene flickers gently, like an old memory playing on a reel of film. SpongeBob watches it all unfold, the laughter, the light, the simple joy of those days. But now it's surrounded by music. The same melody from the sea flows through it all, turning memory into motion. He realizes something. This isn't just the ocean's song. It's his song, too. Every laugh, every adventure, every friend, it all became part of the rhythm that now hums through the sea. The realization doesn't make him sad. It makes him calm. He understands now the lullaby isn't meant to end. It's the sound of the world when it's resting, when everything is okay. The memories fade gently, like the last light of day sinking beneath the waves. SpongeBob drifts backward, the glow around him turning pale and soft. The coral hums lower now, a deep, steady note that wraps around him like a blanket. He whispers, "Thank you," though he doesn't know if he's speaking to the sea, his friends, or the dream itself. And then he lets go, completely sinking into the sound, into the light, into the stillness that feels like sleep. The lullaby slows. The melody stretches out until it's no longer a tune, but a breath, long, soft, steady. The light in the coral dims to a faint shimmer, like the glow that lingers after a candle has been blown out. SpongeBob floats near the seafloor now, completely still. His body sways with the quiet current, his hands resting loosely over his chest. His eyes are closed, but his face glows with peace. Every line of worry, every spark of energy that once kept him buzzing through the day, all of it has faded. The water around him feels warm, thicker, alive. Tiny streams of bubbles rise gently from the sand, wrapping him in small spirals of light before drifting away. The coral above sways slowly, their branches like fingers tracing visible shapes through the water. A few glowing jellyfish drift near again, soft, translucent shapes of gold and blue. They move without sound, their tendrils brushing faintly against SpongeBob's arms. Each touch leaves behind a flicker of light that fades like a sigh. The jellyfish hover above him, circling slowly. their glow syncing perfectly with the deep, slow rhythm of the sea. It's almost as if they're singing, too, not with voices, but with their movement, their pulse, their light. The sea hums lower now, a deep sound that feels like the heartbeat of the ocean itself. It echoes through the coral, through the sand, through every tiny particle of the deep. SpongeBob's breathing matches it perfectly. In, out, in, out. Each breath softer than the last. He dreams not in pictures or words, but in feelings. He feels the warmth of sunlight through the water, the laughter of friends carried on the tide, the rhythm of his footsteps across the sandy floors of Bikini Bottom. All of it blends together into a single, endless comfort. In his dream, he stands once again in Jellyfish Fields, but this time, the fields stretch into infinity. The jellyfish glow brighter than ever, moving like stars drifting through air. The sea above him is gone. There's only the night sky, wide and full of light. The same lullaby plays, but now it sounds like the wind, like the stars, like the soft voice of the world itself whispering him to rest. He lies down in the field, the seagrass curling gently around him. The jellyfish hover above, forming a slow spiral that turns like a galaxy. Their light pulses gently bright, dim, until the rhythm matches his heartbeat again. He smiles faintly. The sound of his own whisper drifts away like bubbles. Good night. The sea responds. A low hum rises, a tone that fills the entire ocean, soft and full. The coral glows once more, just for a moment, as if exhaling light. Then it fades. The jellyfish rise higher and higher, their glow softening until they're nothing more than faint orbs drifting toward the stars. The ocean darkens, but it's not empty. It's peaceful, the kind of dark that feels like rest. SpongeBob's outline glows faintly in the deep golden and still. The lullaby fades until there's only silence, and in that silence, everything sleeps. The coral, the fish, the seagrass, even the waves. Time slows until it feels like it's stopped. Then one last bubble escapes from the sand beside him, floating upward through the water. As it rises, it catches a faint glimmer of light, a final whisper of the lullaby before vanishing into the quiet sea. The camera pulls back slowly, wider and wider, revealing the calm expanse of the ocean floor bathed in silver-blue twilight. The faintest trace of melody hums one last time, then fades completely. All is still. All is asleep. In the darkness, tiny threads of light begin to form, twisting gently through the water like wisps of fog. They move slowly, curling and uncurling as if alive. Each one glows faintly with golden light, soft and pulsing. SpongeBob drifts within them, still asleep. The current moves him gently, turning his body with the rhythm of the sea. His eyes remain closed, but his expression shifts slightly, a small smile, a quiet sigh. The mist thickens. Shapes begin to form inside it. Faint outlines, fragile and glowing. A jellyfish drifts by, but it's not real. It's a memory. Its glow flickers softly, leaving a trail of light that fades behind it. The entire sea becomes a canvas painted in light and memory. A voice echoes faintly, blurred by distance. "Hey, SpongeBob, wait up!" The mist ripples. From within it, SpongeBob sees a younger version of himself running through Jellyfish Fields, bright daylight, clear water, endless laughter. Patrick runs behind him, tripping over seagrass and laughing so hard that bubbles escape from his mouth in streams. The real SpongeBob, the one asleep, drifts closer to the scene, watching it unfold through the haze. The laughter sounds like music, mixing with the hum of the ocean. He smiles softly. He doesn't move or speak, but his body seems to relax even more, as though his heart recognizes the warmth of that day. The memory fades into mist again, the outlines dissolving into ribbons of light. Then another one takes shape. This time, SpongeBob stands inside the Krusty Krab wearing his hat and apron. The glow of the kitchen surrounds him, and the air is full of golden sparks, sizzling oil, shining spatulas, flying bubbles of grease that turn into glowing orbs before popping. Mr. Krab's voice echoes faintly through the mist. "Keep flippin', me boy. Those patties won't cook themselves." SpongeBob laughs, not the loud and excited laugh of his waking self, but a soft, echoing sound that drifts like a hum through the water. He watches himself flip a patty perfectly, the sound of the sizzle merging with the low hum of the ocean's lullaby that still lingers faintly in the distance. For a second, the dream feels so real he could reach out and touch it. But when he does, when a sleeping hand moves slightly through the current, the image ripples and fades back into the mist. Now the water grows brighter. The mist begins to shimmer in soft hues of pink and violet, like dawn spreading through the ocean. Tiny bubbles rise in streams around SpongeBob, glowing faintly as they pass. Inside each bubble, fragments of his life flicker: Patrick's smile, Gary's meow, Sandy's inventions, Squidward's clarinet. Each bubble is a tiny world of memory, floating upward, drifting through the sea of dreams. SpongeBob's expression changes again. He murmurs faintly in his sleep, his voice quiet and tender. "Hi, Gary." "Yeah." The bubbles continue to rise, breaking into sparkles that fill the sea like glowing snow. The mist moves with them, flowing in gentle waves. And deep within that glowing mist, the shape of SpongeBob's pineapple house begins to appear, not sharp or solid, but soft, dreamlike, as if painted with light. The door glows faintly, opening just enough to let a warm orange glow spill out. The scene is peaceful, slow, endless. The world of memory has no edges here. It's all flow, all warmth, all light. The sea itself is remembering with him. The warm light from SpongeBob's dream house door flickers softly, casting golden ripples across the mist. It stretches, expanding outward until the entire sea glows with a faint, home-like warmth. SpongeBob, still drifting weightlessly, feels it the comfort, the belonging. In his dream, he takes a step forward, though there's no floor beneath him. The world moves gently with him, guiding him toward the open door of the glowing pineapple. As he nears it, faint sounds echo from within: the soft purring of Gary, the bubbling of his snail bowl, and the distant ticking of the alarm clock he always forgets to wind. Every sound is both real and remembered. He smiles. "I'm home," he whispers, though his voice doesn't create sound. It ripples through the mist instead, making it shimmer brighter. When he crosses the threshold, the scene changes again. The light bends and folds, turning the interior of his house into something vast. Not a small room anymore, but an ocean of space filled with drifting memories. Each object floats gently: a spatula, a jellyfishing net, a bubble wand, all glowing like constellations in a personal ski. SpongeBob reaches toward one of them, the spatula. It hums with golden light, and when he touches it, a wave of warmth surges through him. Suddenly he's back in the Krusty Krab again, but not as before. The walls are made of light. The tables shimmer like glass. The whole scene looks like it's made of memory, fragile, glowing, endlessly looping. Mr. Krab's laughter echoes, faint but joyful. "That's me, Fry Cook, the best under the sea." And behind him, Squidward sighs, his clarinet in hand. Even in SpongeBob's dreams, he looks tired, but softer somehow, not annoyed, not angry, just quietly there, his music blending with the hum of the sea. The notes of Squidward's clarinet flow outward, merging with the light. Each note becomes a bubble, floating up through the ceiling and out into the water. SpongeBob watches, mesmerized, as those bubbles drift upward and burst into tiny stars. He follows them. The world around him dissolves again, melting into flowing streaks of blue and violet mist. SpongeBob drifts upward through them, as if ascending through layers of memory. At one level, he sees Patrick again lying on a rock, eating ice cream, laughing so hard that he falls backward into the sand. At another, he sees Sandy showing him her latest invention, a glowing bubble dome, floating over a coral hill. At another, he sees himself blowing bubbles in his front yard, the shapes turning into hearts, stars, and jellyfish before floating away. Each vision lasts only a moment, but each carries a warmth that fills him completely. Then slowly, the colors begin to shift. The soft gold fades into pale blue. The sea grows quieter, deeper, heavier. The mist thickens. SpongeBob pauses. He senses something in the distance, a darker area of the dream. It's not frightening, but it feels quieter still, like the weight of a forgotten moment. The light around him flickers slightly, and through the fog he sees something faint, a younger version of himself, sitting alone at night in Jellyfish Fields, watching the stars. No laughter, no sound, just stillness. SpongeBob drifts closer, his sleeping expression tender. The younger version of him looks up, watching a jellyfish glow slowly past the moon. The older SpongeBob, the dreamer, seems to whisper, even in sleep, "You were never really alone, were you?" The sea hums softly as if answering him. The mist brightens again, wrapping both versions of SpongeBob in gentle light until they fade into one another, a dream, one heart, one memory. The sea carries on, glowing like it's breathing. The light swirls softly, and the sea around SpongeBob becomes a gentle tide of gold and blue. He floats without moving, his hands resting near his heart, his breathing slow and peaceful. Through the mist, faint sounds begin to form again, not images this time, but voices. They drift through the water, muffled and dreamlike, like whispers carried by currents from far away. "SpongeBob." The voice is soft, familiar Patrick's. It carries warmth, like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Are you there, buddy?" The sound seems to ripple through the water and wrap around SpongeBob like a blanket. His sleeping face brightens with a faint smile. Patrick's laughter echoes next, gentle and carefree. "You always said jellyfish glow brighter at night. Guess you were right, huh?" As the laughter fades, the mist ripples again, and another voice emerges, this one clear and confident. "Don't forget to breathe, SpongeBob." Sandy, her tone carries a playful spark, the kind that always gives SpongeBob courage. In the dream, her words leave glowing trails of light, like comet paths through the sea. Each word drifts away, but leaves warmth behind. Then comes Squidward's voice, faint and reluctant, but somehow comforting. "Oh, please don't make a scene. Even in your dreams, you're probably smiling too much." Even though the words sound grouchy, the tone underneath them is different, softer, hidden with quiet care. The mist vibrates with low musical notes, as if Squidward's clarinet is playing somewhere deep in the dream. Each note seems to pull SpongeBob deeper into peace. More voices join faint laughter from the Krusty Krab, the sound of frying patties, the ding of the order bell, the rush of bubbles escaping from the kitchen window. All of them blend together, forming a melody that doesn't need words. It's the sound of SpongeBob's life, his joy, his home, everything he's ever loved, echoing back to him through the water. The mist brightens again. The world turns warm gold, like sunrise beneath the sea. For the first time in this dream, SpongeBob opens his eyes slightly. They glow with a faint reflection of jellyfish light. He doesn't wake up, not truly, but his gaze drifts through the dream, calm and full of wonder. In front of him, tiny orbs of light float upward like lanterns. Inside each one, he sees moments frozen in time. Patrick hugging him after a long jellyfishing day. Mr. Krabs clapping him on the back. Squidward shaking his head but secretly smiling. Sandy waving from her tree dome window. SpongeBob watches, tears of pure joy glimmering in his dream eyes, though they never fall. The voices fade, leaving behind only the soft hum of the ocean. The mist shifts color again, turning into pale lavender. The sea feels endless, but now it feels gentle. Not mysterious, not deep, just safe. He drifts downward, lying back as if the water itself were a bed. The glowing orbs drift around him, circling slowly like friends keeping watch. Above him, the silhouettes of jellyfish float past the surface, glowing faintly like constellations. SpongeBob whispers in his sleep, voice barely audible. "Thank you, everyone." The sea hears him. It responds not with words, but with motion, a long, slow current brushing past him, rocking him the way the tide rocks the sand. And as the current flows, more memories appear, not just of laughter, but of quiet moments. Reading at home with Gary, watching bubbles rise through his window, walking alone at twilight but never feeling lonely. The mist becomes softer still, fading almost completely. The dream begins to dissolve into gentle, rhythmic light, breathing in and out with SpongeBob's steady pulse. The current slows. Everything the jellyfish, the glowing bubbles, the soft hum of the ocean, begins to merge into one living rhythm. SpongeBob drifts quietly at the center of it all, surrounded by light. His breathing moves with the sea, slow and even. The mist has almost disappeared now, but the memories remain not as pictures, not as voices, but as a feeling. Warmth. It fills everything. The water, the silence, even the spaces between thoughts. In the distance, a faint glow begins to rise, not sunlight, not moonlight, but something deeper. It's as if the ocean itself has decided to glow. The color spreads across the horizon of the dream, turning the water into gold and silver. The jellyfish appear again, hundreds, thousands of them floating upward through the golden mist. Their tendrils shine like threads of memory, weaving light through the sea. They don't move fast. They drift gracefully, as if the whole world is asleep with SpongeBob. Each one hums softly, a note in a vast, invisible song. SpongeBob's body glows faintly too now, reflecting their light. He turns slowly in the water, facing the endless distance. Somewhere in that soft, golden glow, he feels all his friends, all his moments, all his laughter. They're not far away, they're part of him. The mist carries their warmth back to him in waves. Patrick's laughter. Sandy's spark. Squidward's music. Mr. Krabs' booming joy. Gary's gentle purr. Each one flows through the current like a heartbeat. Together they become something larger, a harmony of life itself. For a moment the sea seems to breathe with him. The current moves in and out, echoing his chest, rising and falling. The light pulses softly, in rhythm with his heartbeat. And then, in that deep calm, a new sound joins, faint and beautiful. It's the whisper of bubbles breaking far above, but it sounds almost like words. We're always with you. SpongeBob's lips curve into the softest smile. His dream self closes his eyes once more, not out of sleep, but out of contentment. The glow around him brightens. The mist thins completely, leaving only the glowing sea and the drifting jellyfish. Their light stretches upward toward the unseen surface. One jellyfish, smaller than the rest, floats close to SpongeBob's face. Its glow pulses gently, like a heartbeat. He reaches out. His fingers brush the water beside it, not touching, just feeling. The jellyfish hovers for a moment, then drifts upward, leaving a tiny trail of golden bubbles. As it rises, the light grows stronger. The sea begins to brighten slowly, carefully, like morning returning after a long night. SpongeBob's body begins to fade into the glow, but there's no sadness in it, only peace. His dream is ending, but the feeling it leaves behind will stay, that everything he's lived, every moment, every friendship, is part of one great sea of light. The ocean hummed softly, the last remnants of the lullaby echoing through the water. The jellyfish float higher and higher until they disappear into the pale glow of dawn. The last few bubbles rise from SpongeBob's chest, each one carrying a faint glimmer of gold. When they burst, the sea grows quiet again, still, calm, at rest. For a long moment there is only silence. Then a faint shimmer passes through the water like the final breath of the dream. And in that shimmer, just before the light fades, SpongeBob's voice whispers once more, soft and grateful. "Thank you for everything." The sea answers in silence. And then, at last, the mist dissolves completely, leaving behind nothing but light and the gentle sound of waves. The dream ends. But its warmth remains, glowing beneath the waves of Jellyfish Fields. Beneath the glowing fields and fading mist, the ocean opens into a new space, vast, endless, almost sacred. The water is darker here, but not cold. It hums softly with a low vibration, as though the sea itself is breathing in its sleep. SpongeBob drifts downward, weightless. The last flickers of gold from the jellyfish fade above him, replaced by slow, shimmering ribbons of blue light that twist through the darkness like streams of memory. He isn't afraid. The deeper he goes, the calmer he feels, as if every breath of the sea carries peace into him. Tiny bubbles rise around him, each one glowing faintly with the same golden hue that filled his last dream. But these bubbles don't hold memories. They hold feelings. Each one bursts softly, releasing gentle waves of warmth, joy, and calm. He feels them ripple through his body like whispers. The sea grows darker still and brighter again in slow, pulsing intervals, like a sleeping heartbeat. Each pulse spreads across the deep in waves of light. And in that living rhythm, SpongeBob senses something, a presence. Not a creature or shadow, but something larger and quieter, the soul of the ocean itself. It doesn't speak, but SpongeBob feels its voice inside his chest. "You are deeper now." The words aren't really words, just the feeling of understanding. SpongeBob drifts slowly, looking upward at the faint trails of jellyfish light far above. They shimmer like stars through deep blue glass. The sea continues to hum, the sound vibrating through the coral pillars rising from the ocean floor. Each coral glows faintly, like a candle inside a cathedral of water. SpongeBob floats among them, his reflection dancing across the surfaces. He moves gently, letting the current carry him. He sees shapes forming within the coral light, not memories this time, but ideas, fragments of dreams that never fully formed. A jellyfish made of starlight, a Krabby Patty that floats like a planet, a giant bubble carrying an entire city inside it. Each vision drifts past him, dissolving into sparkles as it goes. SpongeBob laughs softly in his sleep, the sound blending with the hum of the deep. His eyes stay closed, but his spirit moves freely here, exploring this sea of thought. The deeper he drifts, the slower time becomes. He passes through layers of water that feel almost like veils, each one shimmering as he moves through it. The colors shift from deep indigo to violet to turquoise, and finally into silver blue. In this deepest layer, the ocean no longer looks like water. It looks like sky. The floor reflects faint constellations, not stars, but glowing jellyfish drifting in long, slow spirals. SpongeBob tilts his head upward. The entire ocean above him now resembles a universe of moving light. It's so vast, so peaceful, that he forgets everything else: time, sound, distance. He whispers softly in his sleep, voice carried by the current. It's all beautiful. The ocean responds with a faint shimmer. Light ripples across the deep, dancing over coral towers and sea flowers, swaying in slow motion. SpongeBob floats in the center of it all, his outline glowing faintly golden. The sea hums again, low, resonant, like the sound of infinity breathing. Rest, it seems to say. You have seen much. Feel now. And he does. His body relaxes completely, his soul floating free. The rhythm of the deep slows even further until all that remains is light, heartbeat, and silence. The deep hum grows softer, more musical. The silence that follows isn't empty. It's filled with shimmering notes, as if the water itself is singing. SpongeBob drifts slowly through the sound. His body glows faintly, moving with the current, surrounded by swirling ribbons of light. The sea around him is no longer dark. It shines in soft gradients of blue, purple, and gold. Then from the glow, shapes begin to appear. At first they're faint, like shadows behind a curtain. But as SpongeBob floats closer, they gain color and form. They are figures of light. Each one moves gracefully, their bodies made entirely of glowing energy that shifts with the water. Some resemble fish, some jellyfish, some creatures he's never seen before. Their faces are kind, simple, unthreatening. SpongeBob gazes in awe. He doesn't speak, but his thoughts ripple through the water like waves of curiosity. One of the light beings glides toward him, tall, slender, its body flowing like silk. Its eyes are soft pools of blue. When it reaches him, it doesn't touch, but the light between them flickers and hums. SpongeBob feels something in his chest, not fear, not surprise, recognition. The light being tilts its head slightly, as if smiling. Then, without words, a memory passes between them, an image of SpongeBob as a child, holding his first jellyfish net, his heart full of wonder. The image shines for a moment between them, then dissolves into bubbles. SpongeBob smiles softly. "You remember that too?" he whispers, his voice sounding far away, like it's made of light itself. The being's glow brightens gently, like laughter made visible. Then it drifts backward, joining others in a slow, spiraling dance. SpongeBob watches, mesmerized. The glowing beings swirl together in circles, leaving trails of luminescence that weave into patterns across the water. The patterns pulse in rhythm, slow, soothing, alive. The dance isn't random. It feels like a message. SpongeBob closes his eyes, letting the light wash over him. He doesn't need to understand it. He can feel what it says. You are part of everything that dreams. The lights drift higher, spreading out across the deep. Some settle onto the coral towers, glowing softly like candles in a temple. Others float upward, turning into tiny motes that blend with the shimmering current. SpongeBob follows slowly, moving through the dream like a bubble carried by thought. Every pulse of the sea feels like a heartbeat, his and the ocean's beating together. Then something new appears. A great current forms below him, twisting gently, glowing silver and gold. From its center, a single enormous jellyfish emerges vast, radiant, its body transparent like crystal. It moves slowly, majestically, its tendrils glowing brighter than moonlight. Around it, smaller jellyfish swirl like stars orbiting a planet. SpongeBob stares in silent awe. His heart beats faster, but not from fear, from pure, deep wonder. The giant jellyfish drifts closer. As it does, the surrounding light fades, leaving only the two of them glowing in the darkness. For a moment, SpongeBob feels tiny, a single spark in a vast sea of dreams. But the jellyfish lowers its tendrils toward him, and the glow envelops him gently, lifting him upward. The warmth that fills him is indescribable. It feels like friendship, memory, and light all at once. The great jellyfish carries SpongeBob gently through the deep, its slow movements sending golden ripples through the water. Each motion seems to hum with a note deep, warm, and full of calm energy. SpongeBob lies suspended in its glow, his body relaxed, his smile faint and peaceful. His hands drift freely in the water, his reflection mirrored in the jellyfish's translucent body. The sea around them shifts color from dark indigo to silver blue, and then to a faint violet. It feels as if they are moving upward through layers of dreams, each one softer and brighter than the last. SpongeBob watches the light swirl above. The deeper shadows melt away, replaced by luminous shapes, spiral, streams, and clouds made of pure light. The current carries both him and the jellyfish through them, painting their journey with glowing trails. He can't tell if the light is coming from outside or from within. The water grows warmer. Bubbles rise in slow motion, shimmering with colors that change as they float: gold, pink, turquoise, silver. Some of them burst near SpongeBob's face, and when they do, they release tiny sounds, soft, musical notes like whispers of old laughter and fading lullabies. He listens. The melody is faint but familiar, the tune of something he once hummed while working at the Krusty Krab long ago. He laughs quietly, a breath of joy slipping through his dream. I remember that. The jellyfish pulses, glowing a little brighter as if answering him. Together they drift upward through a forest of light. Tall pillars of coral rise from below, each covered in soft, glowing moss. Sea flowers open as SpongeBob passes, releasing gentle trails of light that spiral upward like incense smoke. The deeper he goes into this glow, the lighter he feels, as though his body is made of bubbles. His thoughts grow softer, too. They don't come as words anymore, but as emotions, waves of gratitude, curiosity, love. Suddenly, the water above him clears completely. What he sees takes his breath away, even in a dream. The ocean ceiling is gone. In its place is a vast, endless sky, not the kind seen from the surface, but an ocean of stars swirling in patterns of gold and blue. The sea and sky have become one. There is no up or down, only infinity. The jellyfish rises toward it, glowing brighter with each pulse. SpongeBob follows, his outline shimmering with the same golden light. All around him, glowing bubbles begin to appear, each holding tiny memories that sparkle briefly before drifting away: Patrick's laughter, Squidward's clarinet, Gary's purr. Each memory shines, then dissolves into a star, joining the endless ocean of light. The scene feels infinite, but not lonely. It's quiet, yet alive, the silence filled with gentle warmth. As SpongeBob rises through it, the jellyfish turns slowly, its light expanding outward like a sun. Its glow touches the stars above, and they begin to move, spiraling into constellations shaped like jellyfish, bubbles, and smiling faces. SpongeBob gazes upward, whispering, "It's beautiful." His voice echoes faintly, carried away by the glowing current. The sea hums again, the same low tone that has guided him through the dream. But now it sounds lighter, almost joyful. The jellyfish stops. For a moment, everything stands still. The lights freeze in perfect harmony, as if the whole ocean is taking a breath. Then, the giant jellyfish lowers SpongeBob gently onto a soft cloud of glowing coral. Its tendrils drift above him, swaying like curtains of gold. The light begins to fade around the edges, soft and warm. SpongeBob rests his head back, eyes half closed, still smiling. The jellyfish pulses once more, a farewell heartbeat, then drifts upward into the sea of stars, its glow trailing behind like a comet. SpongeBob watches it go, whispering faintly, "Good night." The sea around SpongeBob begins to shimmer again, not with the deep glow of dreams, but with the soft, golden light of morning. The darkness melts away like watercolor ink in water, replaced by gentle hues of peach, pink, and silver. SpongeBob lies peacefully on the coral bed, his arms resting beside him. Tiny bubbles rise from his mouth as he breathes in slow, rhythmic waves. The faint hum that once filled the deep now quiets into the hush of dawn. Above him, the stars fade one by one. In their place, the jellyfish return smaller now, floating gracefully through the soft new light. Their glow is no longer brilliant gold, but a calm, silvery blue, like the reflection of moonlight just before sunrise. One jellyfish drifts closer. Its tendrils brush SpongeBob's shoulder gently, and he stirs. His eyelids flutter open, hazy and slow. For a moment, he doesn't remember where he is. The memory of the dream still lingers, vast oceans of light, laughter echoing like bubbles, a jellyfish as large as the sky. He blinks and smiles, realizing it's still night's end. The jellyfish fields stretch all around him, quiet and glowing faintly. Every blade of seagrass seems to hold a single droplet of light. The air is cool and soft, carrying the faint sound of waves from far away. SpongeBob sits up slowly, rubbing his eyes. His net lies beside him, forgotten during the night. A few jellyfish drift lazily overhead, their motion slow, hypnotic. He watches them in silence, breathing in the peace of it all. The dream hasn't gone completely. He can still feel it in the water and the way the light moves. For a few seconds, he imagines he's still inside it, floating among the stars, guided by that gentle hum. He looks at his hands. They still glow faintly, as if holding a memory of the deep dream's light. He whispers softly, "Thank you." The jellyfish above him seem to pulse in answer, their light flickering in rhythm with his heartbeat. Then a sound, the faint chirp of a seahorse somewhere in the distance. Another wave rolls through the meadow, making the glowing grass sway like silk ribbons. SpongeBob takes a deep breath and lies back down, resting his head on the coral once more. He doesn't fall asleep again, he just listens. The world feels slower now, softer, the kind of quiet that only comes at the edge of dawn, when night and morning share the same breath. As the minutes pass, the horizon begins to glow. The first rays of sunlight filter down from above, threading through the water like liquid gold. The light touches the tops of the jellyfish, and one by one they begin to rise higher, carried gently toward the surface. SpongeBob watches them go, smiling faintly. In his mind, he sees the giant jellyfish from his dream, vast and shining, leading him through oceans of memory and light. For a heartbeat, he wonders if it was real. Then, as another jellyfish drifts past him, glowing the same soft gold, he knows it doesn't matter. Real or dream, it was beautiful. He sits quietly, watching until the last jellyfish disappears into the sunlight above. The meadow grows brighter now, colors returning, coral pinks, sea greens, the faint shimmer of the tide. A new day has begun. SpongeBob stands, stretches, and picks up his net. The dream lingers behind his smile, soft, unspoken, endless. As he walks through the jellyfish fields, the morning light ripples across his path, turning the sea into liquid gold. Each step feels lighter, each breath a little fuller. He hums a tune to himself, faint, familiar, the same lullaby that once drifted through the deep. The world hums back in gentle harmony. And somewhere, far above, a single jellyfish glows one last time, a spark against the rising sun. The first rays of morning through the ocean, painting the jellyfish fields in soft golden hues. The light moves gently, almost shyly, touching the tops of corals, the blades of seagrass, and the rippling surface above. Everything feels hushed, as if the entire sea is holding its breath. SpongeBob stands in the middle of the meadow, motionless for a moment, bathed in the soft glow of dawn. The memories of the night's dream still cling to him like a faint mist. The giant jellyfish, the glowing constellations, the laughter echoing through water. It all feels close yet far away, like a beautiful story whispered just before waking. He looks around slowly. The jellyfish that had drifted like stars are gone, their glow replaced by the subtle shimmer of morning. Only a few remain, floating lazily in the distance, their tendrils trailing behind them like ribbons of light. The sea itself seems changed calmer, lighter. Even the shadows are soft, painted in pastel blues and silvers. Tiny schools of fish move through the light beams, glinting like drifting sparkles. SpongeBob breathes deeply, filling his lungs with the cool ocean air. He smiles, not with excitement, but with a peaceful, wordless joy, the kind that comes after a dream you never want to forget. He begins to walk, his steps slow and deliberate. Each movement sends small ripples across the soft meadow floor. The grass sways around his feet, catching the morning light like strands of gold. Somewhere in the distance, a faint hum rises, not from a dream this time, but from the living sea. The current whispers through the coral, and the sound of tiny bubbles blends into a melody so subtle it feels alive. It's the ocean's morning song. SpongeBob closes his eyes for a moment, letting the sound wash over him. The warmth of the light seeps through his skin, and he feels completely still, not because everything around him has stopped, but because everything has become perfectly in sync. When he opens his eyes again, the horizon glows brighter. Above, the surface glimmers like a sheet of molten glass. He can almost see the world beyond it, the reflection of the sky, the faint glint of sunlight breaking through the waves. He takes another step forward, then another. The water becomes clearer the closer he gets to the light. Behind him, the jellyfish fields stretch endlessly, the last traces of night fading away in soft shades of lavender. SpongeBob turns to look one last time. The meadow lies quiet, untouched, eternal. The places where jellyfish once hovered now glow faintly, as though the dream left footprints behind. He kneels down, brushing his hand across the glowing seagrass. "Thank you," he whispers again, the words barely audible, carried away by the gentle current. For a moment, he swears he sees something, a shimmer in the light, shaped like the great jellyfish from his dream. It pulses once, softly, before fading into the morning glow. SpongeBob smiles and stands again. The sun's rays grow stronger now, filling the water with warmth and motion. The world is waking. SpongeBob begins his walk home, leaving the glowing meadow behind, each step rippling gently through the calm sea. The hum fades, replaced by silence, but not emptiness. It's the silence of peace, of something completed. The ocean glows brighter now, a soft symphony of color flowing through every ripple and shadow. The blues of the night have turned to turquoise, the purples to gold. Every coral seems to breathe with the new light, opening slowly as if waking from a deep sleep. SpongeBob walks quietly through the shifting beams, his figure outlined by the sun filtering down from above. The once mystical glow of the Jellyfish Fields fades into the warmth of the new day. The magic isn't gone, it's simply transformed. He can hear the gentle rustle of the seagrass brushing against his legs. A crab scuttles past, its shell glinting like copper under the morning rays. Tiny bubbles rise from the sand, carrying the scent of salt and coral. The world feels freshly painted. As he moves farther from the meadow, SpongeBob notices how everything begins to stir. The creatures of the reef stretching, blinking, and yawning in their own way. A school of tiny fish swirls above him like a single, shimmering ribbon. A starfish turns lazily on a rock. The silence of the night gives way to the soft murmur of life. He pauses at a ridge of coral, turning to look back one last time. The jellyfish fields stretch behind him, bathed in pure gold. The jellyfish themselves have floated higher, vanishing toward the surface, where the sunlight meets the waves. He smiles faintly, whispering to himself, "See you tonight." For a moment, he stands there, letting the gentle current flow past him, tugging lightly at his clothes as if urging him forward. Then he continues, following the familiar path that leads home. The ground beneath him shifts from meadow to sand, soft and pale. His footprints leave faint impressions that the current quickly erases. In that quiet rhythm, step, ripple, fade, SpongeBob feels something comforting. It reminds him that nothing is ever truly lost. It simply becomes part of the sea again. As he nears the outskirts of Bikini Bottom, the shapes of coral houses appear in the hazy morning light. Patrick's Rock sits peacefully, half covered in sand. Jellyfish float lazily overhead, tracing slow circles before drifting away. The quiet of dawn lingers here, too. Even the bubbles rising from the chimneys of houses seem softer, slower. Everything feels gentle, balanced. SpongeBob stops just outside his own pineapple house. The light glows warmly through the windows, painting the sand in soft gold. He sets his jellyfish net carefully by the door, brushing off the last specks of glowing grass caught in its mesh. He takes one deep breath, letting the air fill his chest, and sighs with pure contentment. The world hums faintly around him. Not the hum of the deep dream, but a natural, steady vibration. The pulse of life continuing. He steps inside, the door creaking softly behind him. The living room is bathed in morning light. Bubbles drift lazily through the water. Gary is curled up near his food bowl, purring quietly in his sleep. SpongeBob smiles and whispers, "Morning, buddy." He moves slowly, not wanting to disturb the peace. The sounds of his footsteps blend perfectly with the rhythm of the sea outside. He looks through the window one last time, watching a single jellyfish drift by, one of the last from the fields. It pauses in front of the glass, its tendrils glowing faintly as if saying goodbye. SpongeBob lifts a hand and waves gently. Then the jellyfish turns and floats upward, vanishing into the sunlight that filters through the waves above. Inside his pineapple house, the morning feels different, softer, slower, as if the dream has followed SpongeBob home. The golden light slips through the round windows, scattering across the walls in gentle patterns. Tiny dust bubbles float through the still water, glinting like morning stars. SpongeBob sits at his little kitchen table with a cup of sea kelp tea steaming faintly beside him. He doesn't drink it right away, he just holds it, feeling the warmth seep into his hands. His eyes drift toward the window again, where the last rays of dawn ripple through the sea. He can still hear the faint hum of the deep in his memory, that low, peaceful sound that filled his dream. It feels alive somewhere in the distance, like the ocean's heartbeat. Every time he breathes, he hears a faint echo of it in his chest. He smiles softly. There's no rush this morning. No Krusty Krab chaos, no alarm bells, no shouts from Mr. Krabs. Just the silence of an awakening world. Gary meows lazily from across the room, curling up into a tighter spiral. SpongeBob chuckles under his breath. The memory of the night comes back in fragments, drifting light, the giant jellyfish glowing like a moon, laughter echoing through waves. He remembers floating without fear, surrounded by warmth and wonder. It wasn't just a dream. It felt like a journey, a reminder that even in stillness, there's life. He reaches for a small seashell resting on the windowsill. It's one he picked up from the Jellyfish Fields long ago, smooth, pale pink, with faint golden lines running through it. As he turns it in his hands, it catches the light, and for a split second, it glows the same way the jellyfish did. SpongeBob's eyes widen slightly, but he doesn't question it. He simply smiles, understanding. Some dreams leave gifts behind. He sets the shell gently back on the sill, letting it rest in the sunlight. Outside, the ocean is fully awake now. The soft pinks of dawn have turned to vibrant gold. The corals gleam with color, and the jellyfish fields in the distance shimmer faintly calm, alive, eternal. SpongeBob opens his window slightly, letting the current drift through. The water carries the fresh scent of morning coral and the faint sound of distant waves. He closes his eyes. For a moment, he feels as if the dream is breathing again, soft, kind, endless. He whispers, "Thank you for the light." The sea responds in silence. Yet the whole room seems to glow a little warmer, as if the ocean itself heard him. SpongeBob takes a final sip of his tea, sets the cup down, and stands. He stretches, yawning softly. The sunlight catches his face, making his eyes glimmer like the surface of the sea. Then he steps outside. The jellyfish fields are visible far in the distance, faint, golden, and still. A few jellyfish float lazily near his home, trailing glowing threads as they drift past. SpongeBob watches them go, his expression peaceful, content. He doesn't wave this time. He doesn't need to. Because in the stillness, in the soft hum of morning, he knows they'll return when the sun sets again, when the fields glow and the ocean hums and dreams rise like lanterns through the sea. He takes one deep breath, filling his chest with the scent of the morning tide, and smiles. The camera pulls back slowly, showing SpongeBob standing in front of his pineapple home, the sea glowing golden all around him. The light flickers gently, almost like the heartbeat of the ocean.